Alrighty then, NASCAR Thunder Rock and Roll Edition has certainly created a good, indifferent, and some negative buzz within the NASCAR gaming community, YouTube community, you name it. But I do have a new update for you guys that is now available with the same link in the same Google Drive folder to get all the mod goods. The reason why I made this update now is because, first off, I wanted to add a new paint scheme. One only paint scheme I wanted to fix was the DJ Khaled one because, let's be honest, and I will admit this, it's an awful looking paint scheme. I really didn't quite like how it turned out. And thank goodness, days before the mod came out, I realized that DJ Khaled had a Nesquik endorsement. And I felt like, why not with this update, I include a Nesquik paint scheme. And there you have it. It's exactly blending a modern look with the Nesquik logo, but mostly a balance of Scott Riggs' Nesquik car when he drove it primarily in 2002 to 2003, with the latter season where he was fighting for a championship, only for it to end in disastrous proportions on the opening lap. As you can tell, there's no 0 on there because obviously DJ Khaled is the #1 car. The 10 is Chad Kroger of Nickelback fame. So I hope you enjoyed this paint scheme a little bit more than the original one. But that said, I wanted to share a few updates regarding this version that I just updated. One of the biggest things that I noticed in Mike Roots' video is somebody pointed out that Johnny Cash's portrait looks quote-unquote nothing like him. Here's a little story about that portrait. It was one of the few that was the younger version of himself that was in color. I did not want to go with a black and white portrait, and it was one of the very first things I did with this mod is do the driver portraits. Some of them I would update over time, but for that one, I just stuck with it, and I did double check when somebody mentioned it that, is this actually Johnny Cash, or this is more of Joaquin Phoenix's Johnny Cash? And I looked at Joaquin Phoenix's Johnny Cash, it looks nothing like the photo that I used, but I decided once that comment came out, I'll go find a better photo of him, and lo and behold, I did. So hopefully, for the person that pointed out, that helps a little bit, that this portrait you're seeing right now, the #3, is Johnny Cash himself. Another important note, you notice that the #3 font is different. That's because I decided that the modern #3 font that Austin Dillon drives doesn't match. So I fixed that, and now the #3 font is in its truest form with the paint scheme included and the number font that best represents the time period that Earnhardt drove it. I felt like it was more appropriate to have it look fresh in addition to having that new portrait. Another person pointed out that Lady Gaga and Jordan Miller of the Beaches felt empty. That's mainly because the contingencies were very bare bones. The MGK one, on the other hand, that's purposely bare bones because the car itself and the paint scheme that I based it out of was the 2024 Busch Light Class show car. It was bare bones enough. So that one won't change, but on the other hand, I did update Gaga and Jordan Miller's contingencies so it feels more lively. That's the only major changes that I did with those paint schemes, is just add contingencies. Once again, the latest version is now available with the database file up to date. Because I know when I made the original post, I forgot to update the database folder. So now the Charlie XCX birth date should be correct. Instead of August 8th, it's now August 2nd. The contingencies of Lady Gaga and Jordan Miller, the fresh look of Johnny Cash, those are already updated. Shouldn't be non-effective. Oh, Kendrick Lamar and Johnny Cash's Victory Lane hats will now have the generic Billboard Cup Series hats. The problem is, and for those who saw the live stream and who are stuck around long enough to see it, Johnny Cash's hat will have Kendrick's hat, whereas Kendrick's hat will have Johnny Cash's instead of their proper hats. That's because in the base game, I have Johnny Cash under Dale Earnhardt, Kendrick Lamar under Kevin Harvick. They both have the GM Goodrich Service hat. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how many times I changed it, it seems to not update. And I rectify it by just giving them a generic Billboard Cup Series hat. And finally, Billie Eilish is now classified as a female. However, Jerry Mayfield did not came with a hat in the driver folder with the portrait. So therefore, when Billie Eilish gets out of the car, it'll have the do-rag ponytail that is in white, which I've still yet to figure out how to fix that. That's why when Billie is out of the car, she'll have black hair instead of blonde, which honestly it fits appropriately for Billie Eilish these days. So I hope you enjoyed this little update. Please do update it because it will include a new DJ Khaled car and important fixes, and keep an eye on this channel in the coming weeks or months, because if there's more updates to be had, including updated paint schemes, a little bit of billboard textures, and more importantly, that's going to be the big one, audio changes. You want to stick around and keep an eye on this mod. By the way, there's an important thing to keep in mind when you get this mod. If you've had troubleshooting with the database file where it says it's too large, I've now included a troubleshoot ISL/ROM file of NASCAR Thunder 2003. I've had one person do that and it worked a lot better. So in the updated folder, I now have a troubleshoot file should you have any issues at all. And if you have any issues, feel free to reach me out on social media, and I encourage you to do so and see what the issue is, and I hope to help you out as much as I can. But one of the big troubleshoots, I did include a ISL/ROM folder for you, should you need it, in case you have that little trouble with the file being too large. And if you're interested as well, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link. Any amount of support comes a long way, especially if I'm going to do a 2026 update where I'm going to have more emphasis on the rock genre, which occupies 40% of the roster right now, but it will increase in the updated version. And yes, I have decided that I'm going to proceed with this version next year. On or around before the Daytona 500, it'll all come down to how the Grammys will unfold as to whether or not certain drivers will be called up to the primary roster. But let me assure you, just be patient, enjoy the mod for what it's worth, because I guarantee you, when I make those changes, you'll notice the changes, and where it's going to be more emphasis on rock. There are some pop and rap acts I need to keep it fresh, and more importantly, cater to the casuals. And also, rock and roll is a fun word to say. It sounds more cooler than music mod or billboard mod. But I promise you, be patient, there will be a 2026 version, but for now, that's all I gotta say about that matter. And that'll do it. And until we meet again, I hope to catch you guys and gals later. More importantly, thank you for the overwhelming support. We're in the starting point of the Rock and Roll Edition era. It's gonna get better, one way or another. Above everything else, patience is a virtue, and it does come a long way.